I love your shirt, Natalie. That's so cute. It's cute. Look at
Great
I like
minds.
your shirt.
great
Great
minds.
minds
We
think
all
alike.
dressed alike. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Hi, everybody. It's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and it is Triple Play Day. And I'm here with
Misty.
and
Natalie.
the same three you get on the third week of every month. It's Triple Play Day. And so we've got these Triple Play baseball shirts. How cute are these?
I love it.
They're really
I love them
fun.
too.
So comfy.
And these are all Triple Play blocks that we've done. And so I just think they're really cute. So look in the back where it says Triple Play. Look at that. So
We're very
cute.
excited about them.
Very excited. Anyway, this month is March, and it is National Sewing Month. And so we've got a special Triple Play plan for you today, and it's all about spools.
That's right.
Thread.
Because let's
Spool
face
thread.
it doesn't matter how long you sew. If your bobbin runs out, if your top thread runs out, you're not sewing.
That's right.
You got to have thread. And so we have 3 different thread patterns for you today, spool patterns for you today.
Yep.
And we're really excited about it. They're just really fun. So Misty's going to start with this gorgeous quilt behind us.
All right. So this quilt is called Happy Little Spools. And I was actually inspired by, Jenny has this cute little blue spool that I meant to bring over here that hangs out in our studio.
I have a few spools.
She has a lot of spools.
Let me
but-
just say,
Jars
a bit
and
of a
jars.
fetish.
Yep, there's a lot, but
Jar-
there's one that is so cute that actually inspired this quilt. It's not too tall, but kind of tall and skinny, and I wanted to just create all of these cute, happy little spools. And so it came together really quick and easy, and I think you guys will be surprised to know that this takes just one package of 5-inch squares, and we used these awesome Sew Fine Batiks by Kathy Engle for Island Batiks, and these are so fun because they have sewing notions printed on them. So really, really cute, and they're perfect for a project like this, and these are exclusive to Missouri Star Quilt Company. So we're super
I
excited
love
about
that
that.
they did this for us.
I love it too.
beautiful.
They're just so pretty.
Stitches, the scissors,
Yeah.
look at the pin cushion.
and buttons. They're just,
I
just
love that
so
they
cute.
did that for us. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you so much for doing it. We love it. And so
Oh, I love that quilt.
one package of 5-inch squares, then you're gonna need 3/4 yards of an accent fabric. That's gonna be the spools themselves, the top and bottoms of the spools. And we've got this great black fabric that also has a very subtle
part
print
of the
on it.
line.
It's part of the line.
It's so
It's
cool.
so cute. So 3/4 yards of that, and then you need 2.5 yards of your background fabric, and that includes your sashings and this inner border here. And so that's all you need to make this quilt. Oh wait, and then your border. We use this cute purple for the border, and that's 3/4 of a yard. And that's a 4-inch border.
Let's just talk a minute about this quilting pattern, though.
Oh yes.
This is such a cool, you can probably see it better on the back here.
It's
But look,
so
it's got
cute.
scissors and a rotary cutter.
And I think this one is called A Notion to Sew.
It is.
Motion to sew.
It's very cute.
I quilted mine in that too.
It has
You
a
did?
spool thread on it.
Did you, Natalie?
I think I did mine in a thread spool pattern.
A thread
It's
spool,
a
okay,
little
cool.
bit
A little
different.
different.
We have a few cool quilting patterns that are sewing themed. I think that's fun.
We do.
Yeah.
They're really, really cute. And so you can find those on our website. But let me show you how to do this. This is all based around your 5-inch square. And so what you're going to do is you're going to start by cutting your entire pack in half. And so I'm just going to lay my ruler along the edge so that we have 2.5 by 5-inch rectangles. And then we're going to sew those, and I just chain piece these to a 1.5-inch background strip.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're ready. So
Yeah.
I just laid them along there and sewed down the side.
All right, so you want me to sew one or two?
We can just do one.
Okay.
Just make one spool, but just keep in mind that it's really easy to just feed one after another and get a whole string of them ready to go.
Yes, at this point I would just pop another on. and keep
Exactly.
going. All right.
Exactly.
Oh wait, we're
I
going
like
to do
being
both
able
sides.
to do that.
Yep. Yeah. So we're
All
going
right,
to sew it to
I'm-
the other side. She's on it.
I'm just going to do this other side.
That's perfect.
Now I couldn't do this if I chain piece. I'd have to chain them all,
But this will work.
but this will work, right?
Exactly.
There we go.
And so now we can just trim this off. Nice
Natalie,
and
is your iron
straight.
hot?
Yes it is.
Ooh.
I'm ready for you.
All right. So we'll trim that off, and then now we can press these back.
Okay.
So while she's doing that, we're gonna make our top and bottom of our spool. And so we're gonna take a 3.5-inch strip, and on either side of that, we're going to sew a 1-inch strip to it. So we're just making a strip set. I have one of these already ready to go.
So 3.5 and then 1 on both sides.
1 on both sides, exactly. And so then now we're just going to cut down our strip set into 1.5-inch strips. So let me just do that.
Man, I love when you can do a strip set for something. It just makes it so much easier than all those little tiny squares.
Exactly.
Yep, so smart.
And you're going to need 2 of these for each of your spools. So I've got those there, and we're just going to sew 1 to the top and 1 to the bottom.
And these should line up exactly
They should line up exactly. And now that you mention that, I do want to say that sometimes when you're working with pre-cuts, those little peaked edges, they can make your block measure not exactly 5. And because we are working with some small seams, you really do need all of your measurements to be accurate. Otherwise, they can get off quickly. And so I would just check that and make sure that your blocks are actually 2.5 by 5 because my sample, when I started, was not. And then I was like, why won't this add up?
Why don't they work?
Exactly.
It's
so then
very frustrating.
And then we're just going to press those back. And that is really it. It is such a simple
so cool.
block.
I love it.
And so we can just set them together, and I just put a 1.5-inch sashing in between each block. So you can see in the quilt, there's just a little strip in between, and then we sashed this way as well.
That looks so cool.
And then the inner border is also 1.5 inches, and then that 4-inch outer border. So it comes together.
Oh yes, 2, 3, 4, 5,
it's
6,
10
7,
across
8, 9, 10.
by 8 down, and that's because it's taller than it is wide.
Yeah.
You actually need more across than you do up and down.
Also, can I say I love how the colors run?
Yes, you get that
Yeah.
rainbow effect.
Yeah, I
looks
love
so
that
great.
rainbow effect.
It's so much fun. And the quilt finishes 58 by 68. So it's a great throw size, and I just think it's so happy.
Well, everybody would want one of
belongs
these in their
in-
sewing room, right?
Or the living room.
Exactly.
Or-
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
It's so happy. And so that's it. That is my happy little spools quilt. And,
That is happy.
And I think we will
I
turn the time
love
over
it.
to Nat, right?
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, so for my quilt, I wanted to do spools of thread that were just like the Missouri Star thread because I love the shape and I think they're really cute.
So cute. Nat.
It's really
So
cute.
I wanted to be just a little different.
Yes, of
You know,
course.
why
Yeah.
not? I called it Sassy Spools. It's 72.5 by 81.5 roughly.
Because these spools, I mean, take a look at these. These are
so-
sassy.
They're
right?
cute.
They're
Did you guys know that this bottom pops off so when you wind your thread, you can like tuck it in here and
Yes,
it
I
will hold
love
it,
that.
keep it from unraveling?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
just-
awesome.
Just a little thread tip there.
That's
just a little
great.
thread tip.
Yeah, no, we need to know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's
That is
very
true.
cool. I don't know how I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I guess I never neatly tucked my thread in before. Okay, anyways, I used the line Bubbie's Buttons and Blooms by Kori Turner-Goodhart for Wyndham Fabrics, and it's
It's so
very cute.
I love that it has
love-
sewing words and buttons on it.
It's very, very cute.
It's perfect for March, the sewing month.
Oh, yes, of
National
course.
Sewing Month.
Yes. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I have a 2.5-inch inner border and a great 6-inch outer border. The outer border is 1.5 yards.
So how much background fabric did you use?
Oh, 1.5 yards, and that's this gray is considered the background.
And that includes the
It
border?
includes the inner border, and then the white is just like an accent fabric, and that is a 1/2 yard because
Yeah.
there's just a few strips here and there.
For your spools.
All right, and
Yep,
what's on the
it's-
back?
Oh, the back is this beautiful
Oh,
word.
I love
Words.
I feel like words always make a great back because then you can really read all of it.
Yes, and it's hard to see on here because there are words, but Natalie used the thread. This is a quilting pattern. What is it?
It's called Spools of Thread.
And
I
so
feel
it's-
like I was just spot on with that machine
was,
quilting
you were.
pattern.
You
So it's
were.
got needles.
It's very
and it's got
cute.
spools.
Yep, the
It's
spool is
super
like right
cute.
here, and
Really
then the
cute.
needle is right there. Very cute.
Absolutely.
All right, so let me show you how to make this.
The sassy spools.
Sassy spools.
So
They're actually
sassy.
very quick and easy. You get 2 spools from each 10-inch square.
Okay.
So first we're going to cut off 3 inches from one end.
All right. I'm going to get my
And
chair
that
ready.
is just a piece that you can stick in your stash and use for something else.
I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be the sewer since I'm standing over here. So I'm just going to get ready for
Excellent, excellent.
Very good.
Okay, so then this
you. Look at
is
the hearts. They're so cute. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go
so
ahead.
you're very distracting right now.
I'll try to behave.
All right, so then this ends up being a 7-inch
Spool.
7-inch wide, and we're going to cut it to 4.5.
Okay.
And then you'll get 2. So here's 1.
All right.
That can be the one we work with, but I'll go ahead and cut this one anyways. So you just have this very little strip left over, and then this one can just be used for another project.
Perfect.
All right, so that is the main body of the spool. So what we're going to do is add 2 little 1.5-inch squares to the top corners.
Of the background fabric.
Yep, and you can press them in half if you want to, or draw a line. The gray is kind of hard to see a line unless you have like a white chalk pencil.
Well, and we have this
But it's so
great
small, you could
diagonal
use the
tape.
diagonal seam tape as well, and that would
Yeah.
be so easy.
I love that. I don't know why it took me so long to
It's the best stuff.
It's
find
super
out about
easy.
that. There we go. You want to trim those off? And
All right, we'll trim them, and I'll have Misty press them back.
I'm ready.
Super quick and easy.
I love that they're different shapes, that our
Yeah.
spools are different shapes.
Right.
So that's the top of the
That
spool.
is the main spool. That's just this part right here.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, so for the top, we're going to make a strip set, and that is a 2.5-inch strip with 3.5 on either side.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to cut that to 1.5 to go on top of this spool.
Okay.
So,
I love this method. It makes it so easy to get.
Yeah,
a
anytime you
bunch
can
at
do it-
once.
right, and then
Getting-
you can make pretty much, at least half from one. I don't know exactly. The numbers are in the pattern.
You just need one for each spool. Let's say
Right,
that.
and I'm going to cut this just a little wide because it's uneven on this side. I'll flip it around and make it nice and straight.
That is one of the things that I find interesting about sewers. Some sewers prefer to square up and trim down, and some want it to be just exact. And you're a square upper. You
Yeah.
like to do that.
Okay,
right.
so now you can see this is where the top of your thread's going to go, but it's a little bit too wide. So we are going to add a 2.5-inch by 7-inch strip on either side of
Okay.
this. We're just building out the block.
And you
you
could
can strip piece these.
totally strip
And
piece
then we'll
these.
just trim them off as we go.
All right, so I'm going to just start here.
It's so nice making a quilt with sewists and
And pressers.
pressers.
I
It's
know.
just like the most convenient thing.
It is. It's pretty great.
I love
All
it.
right. And then I'm just going to sew this other half
Yep.
over
So in
here.
theory, you could just, strip piece all the way down.
you just
If you
keep
wanted
sewing.
to, you could cut a whole bunch of 2.5 by 7-inch strips and just do them that way. It's like
Whatever works for you.
quilter's preference.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
There we go.
All
There's
right.
your little
So we
spool.
will trim these.
We didn't even have to cut off the selvages because I just hung it
No,
over.
they are automatically. Let me make sure that's nice and flat so we don't get any rumples.
No rumples. We don't like rumples.
Well,
All right. And I'll press that.
No, we don't.
I don't think so.
Sometimes when I wake up, my face looks a little rumply. I don't like it.
Oh, goodness.
Same. I think I had a sleep mark pressed into my cheek the other day, the whole day.
Oh,
No, you're like,
Could this just not happen to
that's the sign of a good night's sleep, though, right?
Right? Okay, so now we have our top and our middle. We need to make a bottom. The base of the spool, that is a white strip, and it's going to be 8.5, which is what this should measure. Let me just
sorry.
double check. Yep, 8.5. So we're going to put 2 gray 2.5-inch squares on either side.
okay.
And you just do that same method. You're just snowballing the corner. Do
okay.
you want to?
Oh, you have one.
Do you want
No,
to do one,
you're
or should we
good.
just go ahead and use this one
No,
that's
I
already
think that's
done?
great. So I think if we just show them how right here, this would have
Yeah,
been it.
you can press the
Sew.
line, sew on
Yeah.
the corner. Same as the top.
Snowballing.
Yep. Yep. All right. So then you're going to just put these 3 pieces together.
All right.
Okay. That goes on the top, and this goes on the bottom. We're just building a spool of thread.
All right.
So cute.
Now this is probably where your 1/4 inch you kind of want to watch that 1/4
It
inch.
does matter quite a bit, and you do want to kind of make sure and line that white top up with the middle of your spool.
Which I didn't check. So let's see.
So you're just
I'm just a little bit off.
tiny bit to one side.
So we should normally line that up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to take it off?
When you do that, did you like press it in half and pin the center, or how did? Did you get it to
It's
line up?
actually it's pretty easy to see where the white goes like right on top.
'Cause they
And you
meet.
can just kind of meet it and then put a couple pins in there.
Perfect.
That's what I did as I went along. And then if I was,
Now I'm hoping
a
the
little bit of
bottom-
extra fabric one way or the other, I just trimmed it off.
Okay.
So
Now I'm hoping the bottom lines up. I'm like,
it should. And you'll see there's a couple places where it got like a little to one side or the other, but once it's all together, you don't really
Right.
notice. All right,
Right.
go ahead and press that back. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is add a 1.5 inch strip to either side of this block, and that'll make it 10 inches. So
All right.
you can just
I'm just going to go
add
ahead and
that.
start. So this is just on the sides, right?
Yep. And I will say, just so you guys know, this 1.5 inch on either side, it makes the block a little bit big, and I wanted that because I wanted to be able to trim them down to, well, there you go. I wanted to be able to make them match the 10-inch squares perfectly because I just wanted to put together an easy layer cake quilt. I wanted it to be
Simple.
quick and simple and fun and not too much work.
I love that. I
And,
like it mixed in with those big,
Yeah.
big 10-inch squares.
Well, adding layer cakes in between, honestly, that makes a
You
big
press
quilt real
that and then
fast.
we'll trim it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it just, easy layer cake
Well,
quilt.
and this
And-
fabric lent itself. It has, really cool things to look at and fun things to read. And I just thought, let's leave some big spaces.
Yeah.
I also thought part of my design process was I love those old antique boxes that you put little spools of thread in. So I was kind of trying to go for that look.
Oh, I love that.
All right. So you guys can see this is our finished spool. And then I'm just going to take this 10-inch ruler and make sure that everything lines up. And it mostly, it is very, very close. So we're just going to trim this tiny little bit off this side. We'll just take those two top things off. I'm going to flip it for the sake of flipping it.
well, for the sake
Because
of
that's fun.
safe cutting, really.
Yes, for the sake of safe cutting. That is accurate. So we're just shaving off just the tiniest bit on each side. And then I'm just going to clean up this top. Just a tiny bit.
And then because you're using this 10-inch ruler, it will naturally fit with the layer cake square because they are 10 inches.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yep. So that is going to be great. We just got a little bit there and that'll ease right into the seam. All right.
That looks so
It's so cute.
So very good. All right. So one more thing. As I was putting this quilt together, it ended up being a funny shape. And I thought, well, let's do half pieces on the sides so that it can be tall and skinny, the way I kind of like my
We kind of like
quilts to be shaped
rectangular
rectangularly
quilts, yeah.
instead of square. Square is great too. It's just
a
a different way of
preference.
doing it. So this is just your 10-inch square cut in half, put on the sides, and then you add your 2.5-inch inner border and your 6-inch outer border, and you are done.
So how many of these spools do you have in the quilt?
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
13. Okay, awesome.
Right.
And the rest are the 10-inch squares.
So yeah, so essentially you're going to take seven squares from your pack, cut them in half and make all your spools. You'll take 7 squares and cut them in half and make your sides.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is
And so
Really cool.
then the rest of them get to be the big fun squares that you look at the whole piece of fabric and
Really cute.
it just
now.
works out so great. So simple
well,
and
and a
easy.
lot of times we have fabric we don't want to cut.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
we want to show this whole piece, and so
Then
those
you
often
can show
appear
it
in a
off.
layer cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that makes it perfect.
love
Awesome.
Yeah, so I
love
hope you
it.
guys like this.
We do love it. The Missouri Star Spool.
Missouri Star
Sassy.
Sassy Spools.
Sassy Spools.
So cute.
All right.
Yep.
And I'm up
And now on
next.
to,
Yep.
to Mom.
So, my quilt, the world's largest spool of thread.
I love it so much.
It's
I'm like,
so
go big or go home,
great.
right?
Yes, it's so great.
I just love it. Now, the cool thing about this quilt is that this whole center part right here, secret, spoiler alert, this is a jelly roll race. It's a
Brilliant.
jelly roll race.
It's so
So
good.
with a top
smart.
and a bottom and sides, and it makes this glorious quilt. So To make this quilt, you're going to need 1 roll of 2.5-inch strips, and we have used the Snippets Pearlized by Chelsea Designworks for Studio E. You're going to need some accent fabric. That's this gray up here. You're going to need 1.5 yards because these are big 13-inch strips, and you'll need 4 of those. And we're going to need some side fabric. That's our background, and that's 2 yards, and it includes the side pieces, and we did a little 2.5-inch border all the way around it to set it off. And so on the back, we just used this beautiful, well, let's get it up high. So right here, see the middle? These strips are actually ombre strips, and so they go from the light to the dark. And we sewed our seam right here, so it went from light to dark on both sides. But look at this quilting pattern. You can see it really well on this fabric. And this is the Notion to Sew, right, Natalie? Notion to Sew? Yeah.
Yep.
And I love it. The scissors, the rotary cutter, the spool of thread, the little tomato pin cushion.
It's adorable.
Really, really cute. All right, so let me show you how to make this. So basically, I have several videos on making the jelly roll race. I actually have 3 of them. And wherever these fabrics come together like this, in the other videos I did, I show you how you can put a square, you can put a triangle, or you can put a set of squares. Anything you can do in here to add interest is just going to add interest to your quilt. On this one, however, I wanted to sew strip to strip to strip. And so you can see that when these sets come, they come in, sometimes depending upon which roll it is, but they come several of the same color at once. Now here's the trick with the Jelly Roll Race quilt. As they come off the roll, that's how you sew them together. Our OCD nature goes, I don't want the pink to touch. I don't want that, we want to put them all over. But the way this gets sewn together is that if you do that, you're going to end up with your colors stacking. You're going to end up with blocks of color. And you can see on this one, there might be a couple where a couple colors come together, but very few. And so you just trust me on this and sew them together. So I'm going to start sewing my strips together, and you're going to sew every strip in this whole roll together. And it's going to make a strip that is 1,600 inches long. So it's a lot. It's a very long strip. Now the method we're using for this is the plus method. So we're going to just put them together like this and sew corner to corner. And I will be using my diagonal seam tape to do this. But honestly, when you start sewing these together, you'll notice right away that you get a rhythm for it, and you'll just start sewing them together. So I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to bring my next strip over. And I leave these stacked up right here, put this guy out here, and this one goes to the side, and I bring the next one up and put it on top here. Natalie, could you find me a pair of scissors?
Sure.
All right, so again, we're just going to add this one. And remember, the same color, one after the other. So there's like four of each color in this pack. And it looks like Natalie might need to travel to get some scissors.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
For me, it's easiest to cut these apart using scissors rather than a rotary cutter, because I'm chain piecing. You'll see I'm not cutting any of these, just one after the other. Corner to corner like this. And you can see this is going pretty quick. It really, a Jelly Roll Race is a really fast, easy quilt to make. It's great it's just a little smaller than a twin size, so you add a couple of borders and you've got a great little quilt. If you have a 2.5-inch strip that you don't know what to do with, then this is a great fun thing to try. Now, by the magic of television, no, we can't say that anymore. It's not the magic of television. By this computer magic, I've sewn all the rest of these together. I'm going to add it to this because it's the putting together part that is important. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these apart. And this is kind of a good thing to watch. You can use your rotary cutter, but what I do, because I'm old school, scissors and cut that strip and let it drop.
I do that when making binding too.
Me too, yeah.
Scissors. Yeah, this is exactly the same.
Scissors, yeah.
Exactly the same as binding. If somebody could find the other end of this strip, that would also be very helpful.
I think so.
There it is. 16.
That was quick.
Good job, Nat.
Very
It was easier to find the end of the 1,600-inch long strip than the scissors.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Tales of the sewing room.
That's right.
Right.
Well, and I didn't know, I didn't know where it was going to be down there, and I just thought, well, this is going to take me a while if I have to search for it.
Misty gave me a really good hint.
Yes.
Red.
I saw it earlier. I knew it was red.
That is so fun. All right. So now I've cut all of these apart. You're going to give those to Misty.
And I'm going to throw them away.
All right, now the first thing we want to do is we want to cut about half the strip off. And it can be on one side of the fold or the other, and just save that for another project. If you leave them whole, all your seams end up in exactly the same places. If you cut off a piece, then it staggers
And
your
everything's
seams.
offset. That's great.
All right, so now I'm just going to put these two pieces together, and I'm going to cut off this selvage edge right here. And I'm going to line these up, and I'm going to sew these two really long strips together all the way down the side. So I'm just going to do a little back stitch, and here we go. We're almost to the end of this, and if you're lucky, yours will line up exact. But if you're like me, you're going to have a few folds or twists in here. So what I do is I try to pull it out and get it, exactly in half as I can. Clip it. It's going to look ugly, but we're going to finish sewing that up right here.
It's not that bad.
No, it looks good.
Because you're going to trim the sides.
Look at this.
Well, you're going to trim the sides anyways,
Well,
right?
I'm going to trim it right now. All right, so obviously this is a little bit of a mess. We're going to trim this straight, so we have a nice straight edge to start with. And now we're going to open this up, and we are going to find the beginning end.
Other end.
And we are going to do this
I
again.
believe is
Ooh,
red.
right here.
Right there.
All right, so now we're going to lay these down next to each other.
Okay.
And we're going to put two on top of each other right here like
and
this.
Misty and I are going to ribbon dance again.
That's right.
And there'll be more ribbon dancing. All right, and we'll have 4 sewn together, and we're off. All righty, now for the big reveal. Misty, hold this corner.
Yep, you got it.
I'm going to cut straight across the top here. Make sure we're even here.
Make sure on that.
There we go. Just like that.
Okay.
We're going to cut straight across this top.
You could do this with a rotary cutter if you wanted to.
You can.
Yeah.
But this is just as easy.
There we go.
All righty, now let's take a look at this amazing.
So
Woo.
cute.
How
that
cool
went
is that?
so quick.
I love it.
Jelly roll race, so fun, so quick, so easy, but we're going to show you now how to turn this into the spool. So over here on this wall, we have our Jelly Roll Race middle, and we've sewn a 10-inch strip to the side. You're going to just cut those the width of the fabric, and you're going to have to sew several together. Now, because everybody's 1/4-inch seam is a little bit different, make sure to measure yours so that you know that it's exactly the right size. We have a size in the pattern, but that's my 1/4-inch seam, and they may not be the same. You know, they're all a little different.
Well, and you could also add it like you're, you know, with a little bit of extra length and then just trim it off, right?
Absolutely,
To make sure it's
absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
And then for our top spool piece, it's a 12-inch piece of fabric, and this is our accent. And I went with this charcoal gray. And girls, if you could bring me a couple of pins.
Oh, sure.
So what you're going to do is you're going to also measure your top piece, and you're going to have to sew 2 pieces together on this as well. But this corner, I know you're wondering, how do we get the spool? The spool is a single 10-inch piece of fabric like this, and you are going to iron a line like this. And we're just going to press this. We're going to attach it to the bottom of this strip before we sew it to the race. It's going to go here on the bottom of this strip. So we are just going to put this on here. We're going to pretend that we sewed right on this line.
So it's like a snowballed corner.
Yeah,
It's
but
exactly a snowballed corner.
It just doesn't go all the way to the top of the
Right,
spool.
and that's what gives it the spool look, because it has, you can see
Yeah.
from this one, it has that straight edge.
Yeah.
And that's what gives it, you know, it goes up and straight like that.
I love that.
Then to kind of, I put a 2.5-inch strip all the way around it, just kind of to frame it up and set it off. And so I just think it came out really good. I love how the sewing notions show up on the gray. A lot of times people wonder, when you have a quilt that's like this with all these different colors, what color thread do you
Right.
choose for your quilting? And I chose, this is kind of a light gray, because I even wanted it to show up in the white, and I wanted it to show up all over. So
love
basically, you're going to kind of lay some threads on your fabric, see which one you like the best, and then do it. So just as easy as that, you get a really fun, the world's largest spool of thread. And
To date.
right, to date. Natalie will probably add one more strip tomorrow.
For sure. Oh, yes. Competition is real.
That's right.
That's right. So we hope you enjoyed this triple play on spools. Natalie Scott,
Sassy Spools.
Misty,
And happy little spools.
and I've got the world's largest spool of thread. And we hope that you enjoy this quilting month and National Sewing Month, and that we've inspired you to make something really fun for your sewing room. And we hope you enjoyed this triple play from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. See you later. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you are not already part of the Missouri Star Quilt family, you can hit the subscribe button below so you won't miss a thing. And if you click that bell, it'll notify you every time a new tutorial comes out. See you next Friday.